You know that specific kind of exhaustion that hits you at about 3:00 p.m. on a Tuesday?
Hmm.
It's not a physical tired. I mean, you haven't run a marathon. You haven't been lifting weights, but you feel completely drained.
Right.
It's that feeling where your brain feels like a web browser with about 50 tabs open.
Oh, yeah.
You're trying to type an email in one tab, but in the background, your brain is like buffering a video about that project due tomorrow. There's music playing from a tab you can't even find.
And the fan on your internal CPU is spinning so loud you can't even hear yourself think.
Exactly. And the worst part is, you look back your day and you think, I've been sitting here for 6 hours. I've been working nonstop.
Hmm.
But when you look at what you've actually finished,
It's basically nothing.
nothing. It's just bits and pieces of 5 different things. A half-written email, a spreadsheet you started,
Yeah.
a rough outline.
That sensation, that's what we call cognitive overload.
Mhm.
And to be honest, for most knowledge workers today, that isn't the exception anymore. It's the baseline.
So we're just living in it.
We are. We've confused being busy with being productive. We think if the fan is spinning, work is happening.
That distinction is exactly why we're here today. We are tackling that mental clutter head on.
Oh, yeah.
We're diving deep into a framework called Stage-Wise Mind Shift. And we're pulling specifically from a fascinating source titled Stage-Wise Mind Shift, The Science of Sequential Focus.
This material is really refreshing because
Uh-huh.
it doesn't try to sell you a hack. It's not, download this app or drink this mushroom coffee. It presents focus as a structural discipline.
Mm-hmm.
It's a methodology for how you architect your work, your learning, your problem solving.
The mission for this deep dive is pretty clear-cut then. We want to figure out how to stop that chaotic handling everything at once mode, which we all hate,
Mm-hmm.
and move to a method of mastering one aspect at a time. But I have to ask right off the bat, is this just fancy talk for do one thing at a time? Because, my grandmother told me that.
Well, on the surface, yes, your grandmother was right. But the nuance here is really in the execution. The core mantra from the source material is focus fully, shift wisely, and progress completely.
It's that middle part that caught my eye. Shift wisely.
Yes.
I feel like nobody ever talks about the shift.
That's the secret sauce. Most people know they should focus, but almost no one is taught how to shift. We just sort of crash from one task into another.
Okay, so let's get the definitions out of the way so we're all on the same page. What exactly is a stage-wise mind shift?
So the source defines it as an approach where your attention and your mental energy are dedicated exclusively to a single aspect or stage of a task at a given time.
Exclusively is a heavy word there. It sounds rigid.
It is rigid, but for a reason. It means the absolute exclusion of everything else.
Everything.
Everything. You aren't writing the report while keeping an eye on your Slack notifications just in case.
Yeah.
You aren't fixing the code while planning the marketing launch in the back of your head.
You're allocating 100% of your cognitive resources to one slice of the pie.
Chris-
But again, that sounds like standard single tasking. Where does the shift come in?
The mind shift.
Mhm.
It refers to the transition mechanism. The source explains that once a stage is completed, and this is crucial, fully completed, the mindset is intentionally shifted to the next stage.
Intentional versus what?
Accidental.
Accidental, reactive, or forced?
Yeah.
I mean, think about how you usually switch tasks.
Oh.
Usually it's because you got a notification or you got bored or you hit a difficult part in the work and your brain looked for an escape hatch. That's a reactive shift.
Or someone walks up to your desk and asks, got a minute, and suddenly you're in a meeting.
Exactly. Those are all reactive. A stage-wise mind shift is a planned, conscious transition.
Okay.
The goal is to compartmentalize the work so that every part gets the deep attention it deserves, rather than a fragmented, best effort version of your attention.
So it's about preventing that bleeding over effect.
Yeah.
Like when I'm at dinner with my family, but I'm mentally rewriting a presentation intro. Precisely. You aren't really at dinner, and you aren't really writing the presentation. You're in a gray zone where you're feeling it both.
Ouch.
You're physically present, but mentally absent.
I feel called out. But let's play devil's advocate here. I think a lot of us operate under the assumption that multitasking is a badge of honor, right?
Oh, for sure.
We think, I'm a high performer, I can handle the strategy and the execution simultaneously, I'm a juggler. Why does the source material come down so hard on that idea?
Because biology disagrees with our ego. The source starts with the concept of avoiding mental overload.
Right.
It argues that the human brain is a serial processor, not a parallel one, at least when it comes to high-level cognitive tasks.
So when we think we're multitasking, we're actually just context switching really, really fast.
Exactly. We're toggling.
Yeah.
And that switching has a tax. It creates cognitive strain.
A tax. I like that.
The source gives a great example regarding project management. Imagine the stress of trying to plan a project, execute the tasks, review the quality, and correct errors all in the same hour.
That just sounds like a panic attack waiting to happen.
It's the equivalent of trying to build a house where you are laying the bricks for the second floor while you're still drawing the blueprints for the foundation,
Oh, wow.
and simultaneously trying to inspect the plumbing that you haven't even installed yet.
You'd end up with a cricket house, leaky pipes, and a very angry inspector.
And you, the builder, would be exhausted. The source says that stage-wise, focus quiets the noise. By allowing the brain to work on only one clear objective, say, just the blueprints, you reduce that friction. You aren't fighting your own brain.
Which leads to the second big benefit, productivity. Now, this is where I get a little skeptical.
Okay.
Because if I break everything down into stages and do them one by one, doesn't that take longer? It feels like it would be slower than just getting it done.
Counterintuitively, no. The source argues the opposite. Full attention increases efficiency and speed because you eliminate the ramp-up time every time you switch contexts.
Is there a concrete example of this? Because I feel like I fly when I'm bouncing between tabs.
That feeling of flying is usually just adrenaline masking inefficiency.
Ah.
Let's look at a professional drafting a report. We've all been there. You write a sentence, then you stop to check if the data for the next sentence is in your email.
Yep.
Then you notice the font looks weird, so you highlight it and change the formatting to bold. Then you realize you don't like the bold, so you change it back. Then you write 3 more words.
I live my life in that loop. It feels productive because I'm doing things. My hands are moving.
But you aren't flowing. Compare that to someone using this method. Stage 1,
Yeah.
gather all data. You don't write a word, you just get the numbers and put them in a folder.
Done.
Stage 2, draft the text. You don't format, you don't fact check, you don't worry about the font size. You just write.
Okay.
Stage 3, review and format.
So the person in the second scenario isn't stopping to bold a header.
No, because that uses a different part of the brain. The source implies that the person focusing solely on drafting will complete the text significantly faster and with higher quality because they are in a flow state for writing.
Right.
They aren't interrupting themselves to become a graphic designer every 30 seconds.
That makes sense for work, but what about learning? We have a lot of listeners who are studying for certifications or picking up new coding languages or even just reading complex nonfiction. Does this apply there?
Explicitly. The source lists improving learning outcomes as a key benefit. When the mind isn't divided, learning goes from superficial to structural.
Structural meaning, like deep understanding.
Right. Think of the skimmer. The student who has the textbook open, a YouTube video explaining the concept playing, and is highlighting random sentences while texting a study group.
I know that person. I am that person sometimes.
Right. They might recognize the terms later on a multiple choice test, but do they know it? Can they use it?
Probably not. They recognize it, they didn't learn it.
Contrast that with the sequential learner. They read the chapter on the concept. They stop. They do the practice problems for that concept until they master it.
Okay.
Then and only then do they move to the next chapter.
It's depth versus breadth. But paradoxically, by going deep on one thing at a time, you cover the breadth more effectively because you don't have to relearn it 3 times.
You build a foundation.
Yes, you aren't building on sand.
And that connects to the final benefit mentioned, systematic progress and confidence.
This is a psychological benefit, and it's huge. When you view a massive project as one giant blob of work, it's intimidating.
Yeah.
You procrastinate because you don't know where to grab it.
It's the wall of awful. You just stare at it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But when you break it into stages, progress becomes measurable. You can say, I have finished stage 1.
And that feels good.
It does. That completion releases dopamine. It builds confidence. The source mentions this specifically regarding skill development.
How so?
If you master the fundamentals, really master them, you feel safe moving to the next level. If you rush to complex applications while your fundamentals are shaky,
It all falls apart.
you'll eventually crumble.
It's like building a Jenga tower. If the bottom blocks are wobbly, it doesn't matter how pretty the top blocks are. It's coming down.
Precisely. Stage-wise focus ensures you are standing on solid ground before you take the next step.
Okay, you've sold me on the why. I want the mental quiet, I want the efficiency, but implementation is where this usually falls apart for me.
For a lot of people.
The source material outlines a very specific 4-stage process. Let's walk through this step by step and really figure out how to do it.
It is a cycle,
Yeah.
and it starts with something that sounds easy but is actually very hard. Stage 1. Identify the first key aspect.
Why is that hard? Just pick a thing.
Right. We don't. We usually just start working. We dive into the mess. We just start digging. The source says you must clearly define the first aspect that needs attention and make it the sole focus. You have to draw a circle around it.
Let's use a real-world example. Say I'm a developer or project manager planning a new app feature.
Okay. In that context, stage 1 is likely requirements gathering.
Right.
This means understanding what the users need. And the discipline is that while you are doing this, you are not allowed to think about the code. You are not allowed to think about the database structure. You are not allowed to worry about the user interface colors.
That requires serious self-control because as I'm reading, user needs a logging page, my brain is immediately going to, oh, I should use Oath for that, and I can use that new library I saw on Twitter.
And that is the trap. The moment you chase that Oath thought, you have left stage 1.
You're multitasking again.
You are. You have to capture that thought. Write it down on a sticky note if you must, and immediately return to the requirements. You are defining the boundary of your sandbox.
Got it. Stay in the sandbox. Which leads to stage 2. Apply full focus and complete it.
Ideally, this is deep work. You give complete attention to this stage until it is fully accomplished.
Fully is the operative word there. I'm so guilty of the 80% is good enough mindset. I get it mostly done and then I get excited about the next part.
We all are. It's human nature to crave the novelty of the next step. But in this framework, you don't move on until the loop is closed.
So in our example,
you don't write a single line of code until the requirements document is finished. Signed off. Done. No open questions.
okay, so we finished the requirements, the document is closed. Now comes the part I really want to dig into. Stage 3, perform a mind shift to the next aspect. The source treats this like a distinct event.
This is the differentiator. This isn't just start the next task. This is a ritual. The source emphasizes that this shift must be conscious and intentional.
Why do we need a ritual? Why can't I just close the Word doc and open the code editor?
Because of a concept researchers call attention residue.
Attention residue.
Yes. Even if you close the document, your brain is still processing the words you just wrote. You're still wondering if you missed a requirement. You're still spinning on the previous problem.
So you're not fully present.
Exactly. If you immediately start coding, you're doing it with only part of your cognitive capacity because the other part is still stuck in the previous stage.
Because the mind shift is like wiping the whiteboard clean.
Yeah. Exactly. It's a mental reset. The source suggests you need to mentally close the phase. Tell yourself, analysis is done. I am satisfied with it. I am putting it away. Now, I am redirecting all faculties to design.
It sounds almost meditative.
It is, in a way. It clears the cache. It allows you to enter the design phase with fresh eyes, rather than dragging the baggage of the analysis phase with you.
And then stage 4 is simply repeat until accomplished.
Right. It's a cyclical nature. Design, then implementation, then testing, then review. Each stage gets your full self.
I can see how this changes the quality of the work. If I'm in the testing phase, I'm not worrying about the design anymore because I know I gave the design 100% of my attention when I was in that stage.
Exactly. You trust your past self. You don't have to constantly look back and second guess because you know you didn't cut corners.
Right.
That go back and fix it loop is what kills productivity in most companies. By progressing completely through each stage, you prevent the rework. You measure twice, cut once.
So we have the mechanism. Identify, focus complete, shift, repeat. But the source material also zooms out a bit. It talks about what this does to your character over time. It calls it building disciplined thinking.
This is the long game. The source claims that repeated practice of this method effectively rewires the way you think. It connects to neuroplasticity.
It mentions becoming more organized, patient, and goal-oriented. The patience part stands out to me.
We live in an instant gratification economy. We want the result now. We want to skip to the fun part.
Yeah.
This method forces you to wait. You have to finish step 1 before you get the reward of step 2. That builds cognitive endurance.
It's like resistance training for your focus.
It is.
Oh.
And the text notes that over time, this becomes a natural evolution. At first, it feels rigid. You have to force yourself not to check your email. You have to force yourself to stop solutionizing while you're planning.
It feels like wearing a brace.
That's a great way to put it. But eventually, the brace comes off. Breaking large tasks into clear stages just becomes how you see the world.
It becomes automatic.
You naturally start dissecting problems into sequences, rather than trying to swallow the whole elephant at once.
I love that image. Instead of choking on the elephant, you're just eating it one bite at a time. Okay, maybe let's move away from the elephant eating.
Good idea.
Who is this actually for? The source lists, students, researchers, professionals.
Those are the obvious ones. But the expert perspective here is that this is of universal utility. Whether you are writing a novel, building a software application, or, and here's a humble example, cleaning your garage.
The garage. Oh man, that is the ultimate test of focus.
It really is. Think about how most people clean a garage. They walk in, see a giant mess, they pick up a box of old photos, start looking at them and reminiscing, then they see a broken tool, try to fix it, then they see some trash, take it to the bin. 2 hours later, the garage looks worse than when they started.
That is literally my Saturday. And you end up with the mess on the driveway phase where everything is pulled out, nothing is sorted, and you just want to set it all on fire and move to a new house.
Exactly. That is a lack of stage-wise mind shift. Now apply the framework. Stage 1, categorization.
Okay.
You pull everything out and put it in piles. You don't clean anything. You don't fix the broken tool. You don't look at the photos. You just sort.
Keep the blinders on. Just sort.
Stage 2, elimination. You throw away the trash pile. You take the donation pile to the car. Stage 3, deep clean. You scrub the empty shelves. Stage 4, organization. You put the keep items back.
It turns a mountain into a series of small hills.
And because you finish stage 1 completely, you never have to wonder, where does this go? When you're in stage 4, you've already decided.
It sounds so simple, but it requires that initial investment of discipline. So bringing this back to our listener, maybe they're commuting, maybe they're doing the dishes. How do they start this without getting overwhelmed by the idea of being organized?
I think the key is to stop fighting your biology. We are not designed for parallel processing of complex tasks.
Right.
The force is essentially giving you permission to do one thing.
That's a powerful framing.
Yeah.
Permission.
Permission to ignore the emails for 20 minutes while you write. Permission to not think about the dinner plans while you're finishing the report.
And the guilt, because I think that's the blocker. We feel guilty if we aren't available for everything at once. We feel like if we aren't answering the Slack message instantly, we aren't working.
The logic here is that by ignoring the other things temporarily, you serve them better in the long run. You are a better colleague, a better student, a better partner when you are fully present in the stage you are in.
So you produce better work for your boss if you ignore them for an hour to actually do the work.
Basically, yes.
So let's wrap this up with the core message. If the listener takes one thing away from this source, what are the 3 pillars?
Focus fully. Shift wisely. Progress completely.
Let's break those down one last time to make it stick. Focus fully.
Focus without distraction. Be where your feet are. If you are drafting, just draft. If you are analyzing, just analyze.
Shift wisely.
Shift with intention. Don't drift into the next task. Decide to move there. Make the transition a conscious act of closure.
And progress completely.
Don't leave loose ends. Finish the stage so you can move forward with confidence, knowing you don't have to look back.
One focus, one stage, one success at a time.
That's the challenge for everyone listening. Try it on your very next task. Just pick the first stage, do it, and then, only then shift.
It's simple, but it changes everything.
Before we go, I want to leave everyone with a thought that came up earlier. You mentioned closing the door.
Yes. Here's a provocative question to take with you. Are you truly finishing things, or are you just rushing to the next distraction? The source suggests that true progress only comes when you mentally close one phase before opening another. If you never truly close the door on the previous task, your mind is basically a hallway full of drafts blowing papers everywhere.
Don't live in a drafty hallway, folks. Close the door. Thanks for diving in with us.
Thank